This is going to take a look at the MexAmerica temperature and precipitation characteristics. And so just to get an idea of what we're looking at, here's California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, the Rio Grande, and Mexico. Here is the Baja Peninsula and the very shallow Gulf of California. We can see in December, temperature very much has that latitudinal characteristic. Places closer to the equator have warmer temperatures, and as you go farther north, of course, it gets cooler. But we can also see very clearly the role of maritime influences. You can see along the Pacific Ocean how much it helps to moderate temperatures further around the Baja, and of course over here around the Gulf of Mexico. So you can see once again the role of maritime influence. But you can also see the role of elevation. Here clearly the Sierra Nevadas, the Rocky Mountains, and the upland areas of Arizona and New Mexico and even Texas are very obvious here on this map of temperature in December. Now let's go to March. We can see once again a lot of the same ideas carry on. But in fact they're actually more exaggerated. You can see how clearly the Sierra Nevadas are shown here. That's the role of altitude, and of course the upland areas of MexAmerica there. We also have the maritime influence, very warm temperature found all around the Baja, the Gulf of California, but also along coastlines. We go to June and we can really see the role of this area being dominated by high pressure, and so subsequently, because there's no clouds in the sky, the sun comes screaming through the atmosphere and heats up the surface. It really heats up the surface in this particular area right through here of southwest Arizona, southeast California. This is an area where there is some agriculture. So how do they have agriculture where it's so dry and so hot? Because it's heavily irrigated. So also in this particular characteristic, we have it being higher continentality. And now you might say, but wait a minute, there's the Gulf of California here. That's a water body that should moderate the temperatures. Like I mentioned, as we can really see in September, we can really see that the warmest temperature anywhere on this map is actually in this particular area here, the Gulf of California, very shallow. So it heats up very quickly. It's like the shallow end of the pool in the summertime. Oftentimes it's really, really warm compared to the deep end. So the fact that it's really shallow helps to cause a raise in temperature in these surrounding areas. And so actually as you go farther inland, in this particular area is where you're going to find the warmest temperatures. And that's because of high continentality. The role of land heats up but also cools down faster, and so it heats up faster, so it gets really, really hot there in September. Now let's look at precipitation. So here we're going to see a characteristic in which on the edges of MexAmerica you're going to see more precipitation. And so we think about the core of MexAmerica is right through this particular area here on the edges, so California, Texas. And I'll show this on later in agricultural maps, really show this as well. Further, we can see the role of a rain shadow in the mountains, really doing a good job of essentially ridding all of the precipitation from these air masses, and then the air masses continue on quite dry throughout here in the Great Basin and the interior of MexAmerica. You can also see a little orographic there and there as well. Also over here, because being close to the warm, moist Gulf of Mexico helps to keep this area also a little bit more moisture in December. But nonetheless, this is the wet period of California, the winter. This is the Mediterranean climate. This is what they're known for, is that distinctive wet pattern in the winter and dry pattern in the summer. So we should see this play itself out as we go through the seasons. And so now we go to March. Kind of similar to the December, but just essentially what we got now is just a little bit more precipitation. But then come June, now this whole area is extremely dry. Mediterranean climate. So what happened is now a subtropical high pressure that spends most of its time down here has worked its way up in June and in the summer months to dominate this area and give it that characteristic dry summer period. Meanwhile, over here in the eastern part of MexAmerica along the Rio Grande, very agriculturally productive area right through here. I shouldn't say very, just in case of an area that doesn't get much agriculture or have much agriculture, here we do have an agriculturally productive area, and that's because it does get, as you can see here, a little bit of precipitation here in June. Further, we continue on September, and we can see even more precipitation in this particular area, but once again, Mediterranean climate dominated by a high pressure, and so subsequently, this particular area of MexAmerica, not only does it have a large number of cloudless skies and cloudless days, it also has this characteristic of being deeper within the continent, so it has high temperatures, and so it also is a rain shadow, and so all these factors combined cause this area to be extremely dry. And so this is where we're also going to find in this particular area of MexAmerica, kind of overlaps with Joshua Tree National Park, but also Death Valley, and it's called Death Valley for a reason.